Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Today I wanted to talk about those ever elusive, super complicated and intimidating coloring pages and how we can try to tackle them and make them a little easier on ourselves. So join me on the other side and we'll get started. Okay, so what I want to talk to you guys about today are pages that feel really complicated and seem super hyper detailed that are intimidating. And you can find a lot of this in like Kerby's books, and I've got a few others here pulled that we can look at. But I have some thoughts on how to approach these so they're not so scary and they're not so intimidating. I think there are a couple of ways that we can actually work to simplify these. So without further ado, let me go into this. Now I did a video on this about a year ago on how to color complex mandalas, and it's sort of the same concept, but we're not looking at mandalas today. So one of the things that you can do, this is from Wondermorphia. This is a Kerby Rosanes book. And what I did here, so you can see there's an awful lot of detail on this seahorse page. And instead of coloring every seahorse, I took distress inks and I just blocked in a lot of blobs of different colors all over the page. It almost looked like a watercolor kind of effect. And then after I did that, I went back with some Prismacolors and added some shadows to add a little depth. So you can see here, there's some little darker spaces around here that I used with my pencil. And then because I'm weird, I went back over the line art with a black micro liner pen, fine liner, micro, whatever they are, a micro something black marker pen thing. That's a very hyphenated long word. I don't know if you can find that on Amazon. Anyway, and then you can see I've got some little white dots for the bubbles, and that was just an acrylic pen or probably a white acrylic gel pen. So yeah, that's one way that you can do this, is just blocking in color and then coming in afterwards. I think this is the easiest way to do it, because then you're not worrying about every little like fin, every little shelf on the coral reef, every little thing, because that would just make you crazy. This actually looks like a little Pac-Man, y'all, or the little ghosts in Pac-Man. That's kind of funny. Anyway, so that's one way that we can do this. Another way, and I've shown y'all this page several times before, is you can create bubbles and ignore the blue line here. But I really did not feel like coloring 3,000 mushrooms. I love mushrooms, but I don't want to color 3,000 of them. And because I get lazy, I thought, well, I'm just going to do it this way. And you guys saw me do this on my flower yearbook. Oh, let me pull it here real quick for April, March. Here we go. I did the same thing here. I didn't want to color all these little fine details. I didn't think I could do it justice, so I just kind of did the lazy way and made the bubble circles, but it's not, I think it's really pretty. I actually am really happy with this page, and I'm very happy with the way this page turned out too. Okay, so let me get started on another page for you guys. I'll be right back. All right, here's a page that I pulled from the Circle of Life book by Melpomeni. I don't know how to say her last name, but it looks like a beautiful last name. Y'all know I butcher names on this channel all the time, and I don't mean to do it. Okay, so what I wanted to do here is talk about a couple more things that we can do to simplify complicated pages. One of them is, I think, to limit your color palette. I think if I look at this, I can see I'll need pink for the flamingos, blue for the water, more blue for the water, green, gray. I have all these different kinds of flowers, so maybe there's 8 or 9 more colors, I don't know. But that's one way. If you just simplify it to like a handful of 5 or 6 colors, that'll take a lot of that decision pressure off of you with all these details. The other thing that you can do is try to look at, let me get my handy pointing pencil. Try to look at this stuff in blocks. So instead of looking at every little line here, look at this as like one big chunk. Look at this as one big chunk. So now you're coloring bigger blocks. You're not trying to color every little stripe in the waterfall, every little curve in the mountain to be a different color. You can, if you're wanting it to be like hyper realistic and you're, you know, if that's what you want to do, I think that's awesome. But what you can do is just color this whole mountain range one big color. And then you can come back later and add more color if you wanted to. The flowers, you can do all the flowers, no matter the different shapes, in the same color. So I tend to be one of those colorists where I'll say, well, these three flowers are the same. I'm trying to make sure that's in camera. These three flowers are the same, so I'm going to color all three of those the same. And if I look down here, that's another one that looks like that one, but this flower looks different. It looks like one of these. So those need to be a different color. And this starfish looking flower thing looks like this one, so that's a different color. But if you took all of those and colored them the same color, in the same color scheme, that will make it easier and take that pressure off of you too. But like to do the blocks here, again, you don't have to color every little strand of grass. If I go back to my flower yearbook, just because I've been down this road, y'all, and you can go crazy. In January, I tried to color every little strand, every little piece of grass. So if you look at like these fern looking things, I tried to make sure they were all the same color, and then these are the same color. Same thing, I think I did it in February. Yeah, now this one's a little easier, but again, just really going nuts over all the details by making sure anything with that same leaf shape had the same color scheme. But if you were to just throw that out for a few minutes and abandon that need to color them the same way, you could just color them any color that you want and not worry about it. Like all of these little shrubs, you don't have to color each individual shrub. You can color the whole darn thing in green and then come back and add dimension later. So let me get some colors, and we're going to try to attack one of the pages in this book to see if we can't simplify it together. I'll be right back. So I found this page in the book, and by the way, did you know that these pages are perforated and can tear out? Now, normally I never tear out pages from a book, but I thought it would just keep it easier on this one. So I pulled this page. I think this is a very detailed and complicated page because of all the detailed flowers. So what I did was I pulled some Neocolors, and we're going to do like a rainbow fan up here. So I pulled a yellow, like a yellow orange, an orangey red, like a reddy, like a pinky red, and then a purple. And I'll repeat it on the same side over here. And then I've got some blues and greens to color the peacock. So what we'll do, as I slam colors down on the desk, we'll get started. I'll start out with the yellow, going from the lighter color down to the dark. So we'll just start coloring. Let me make sure I've got you guys in camera here. I'm just gonna stand up real quick with my stand. Okay, sorry for the little bumps there. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to leave these little spiky flowers, not color them, but I'm just going to take yellow and color in this whole section. So I'm going to do this, and I will speed color all these sections for you, so you don't have to sit here and watch me color while I'm talking, that is. Okay, here we go. wasn't real super neat. With Neocolors, honestly, a little bit goes a long way. And I went ahead and went a little heavy-handed to make sure I had nice saturated colors. So what I'm gonna do now is start working on the peacock. And again, I've just got some blues and greens that we're gonna use for that. So I will start to speed color and I will be back in a few minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate the Neocolors. So I've got a size 10 watercolor brush. I learned from Jen's Coloring Corner on her channel. She does a ton of Neocolor work, and this is the brush she uses for a lot of her big areas. And I've got a smaller brush that's a size 4 that I'll use for some of the smaller details. But you can see I didn't worry about being very neat in these little areas here because they're just going to all blur out with color, and we're going to go back and shore all of that up at the end. So I will get started activating, and you can watch on speed, not on speed color. Sorry, you know what I mean. Some Prismacolor pencils to start adding a little depth to some of these colored slots with the feathers or the fan of the tail. And I'm just going to take, so I've got a darker, this is a black grape that I'm going to use in here. And I'm just going to like add some depth here and there, no big deal. You can add it on the flowers. I'm adding it kind of in between the flowers. Just so you know, colored pencil works really well over the Neocolors. So I'm just sort of adding it here and there, just a little bit. Not a ton. Just somewhere where you might want to see a little extra something. Okay, gonna do the same on this side over here. And I do like the added sort of watercolor effect too that we get in here. And looking at this, maybe the black grape was too dark, but we're just going to go with it for this one. Just adding a little stuff here and there. Again, the whole goal is to make this easy and not take a ton of time to color. So next I'm going to move on to the sort of dark, it's like a purpley red. So I pulled a dark purple color here. Let's see how that works. Again, that might be the wrong color. but we're just not going to worry about it. Oops. And maybe I lied. Maybe the colored pencil doesn't work so well on the Neocolor. At least it's not being real saturated, so that's good. Okay, just adding some stuff here and there. Then I'll come over to this side. We'll do the same thing. Make sure I'm still in camera. I tell you guys, I test this stuff live, and I'm doing like live and little air finger quotes. I just roll the camera and start going, so I never know what's going to happen. So it's an experiment for all of us at the same time. But I do love these little watercolor effects at the top that we've gotten with the Neocolors. I'll put a little purple on some of these leaves here. Okay. Next I pulled, let's see, Crimson Lake, which is going to be more of a red for this little orangey space in here. So it's sort of like coloring on top of wax with these. Wax on wax. Okay, maybe we can add some red to these flowers here. Maybe a little bit here. Okay. We'll do the same over on this side. So I guess it depends on how heavy-handed I was with the Neocolors. Okay, put a little bit in there. Okay. Now this is vermilion, pale vermilion. All right, I'm not getting much of anything. That's okay. You guys see what I'm trying to do. Unsuccessfully, might I add. And honestly, this kind of matches the color too well. Let's see if I could pull this red in again. That might be a little prettier and more noticeable. Okay, come over here, add the same, and again, only if you want to. You don't even have to do this part here. Just something I like to add a little bit of texture and color. Again, no big deal. I'm just sort of scribbling in random places, just adding a little color. We'll use the pale vermilion in this section here. Give it a little more shadow. Okay, we'll do the same over here. Okay, and last but not least, I pulled goldenrod for the yellow. So you get like a little bit of a darker yellow in there. Let's see how that works. So again, I'm just not spending a ton of time on this. Okay, so there's that. Let's actually, let me just add a little bit around this flower here. There we go. So next, we're going to tackle these little rods. So I pulled a black Pitt pen with a brush tip. I'm just going to brush the black in here, and then I'm going to color the flowers in black. Okay, and while I have my black Pitt pen out, I'm going to do the beak here, and maybe add just a little outline right here. Okay, so now I've got my white gel pen, and what I'm going to do is just start kind of, or I'm sorry, my Posca, just sort of start outlining some details here and there. And again, I'm not being real neat about it. This isn't a very saturated pen. I've found Poscas to not be very saturated. And we'll come back and pick up the crown, the peacock, in just a little bit. Okay. All right, and next I think I will add some dots in. I think I'll just go ahead and do this on these little feathers here, and we'll just do little dots on the leaves. That curves around. So it's not adding, just making a quick go of it. Okay. Might also add like a little white around here, sort of like a highlight. I have a black metallic gold paint pen. This actually smells like spray paint. You can see it's one of these that you shake up. I'm going to add some gold on some of these little vines here as they come across. Let's see, we'll just make one do that there. Okay, there's none one here, but we can create one. Okay, not one there. There's one right here. We could make it look like it's going across there. One there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is also put gold on these little black flowers and color in these little gold bits at the top. Ooh, this paint pen is strong, y'all. But you can see how with just a handful of coloring supplies, you could make this into a really easy page to color. Not coloring every little detail. Okay, and now we can add a little gold here. And what I wanted to do is add gold for the peacock's crown right here. So add a little gold highlight, whoops, right there. Okay. And last thing I want to do, if I can get it to work, let's get my gel pen. See if I can't go over some of this white, make it a little, it looks like it's going to cut through it, so I guess I can't do that. Just adding like little white dots here on his body. So I'm just going to kind of call that done for now, but you can see how we took a very complicated page and made it a lot easier by just coloring blocks of color, not using a ton of supplies. Oops, I missed some gold up here. Anyway, so I hope that helps you break it down. So again, you can use your blocks of color. You can add pencil work afterwards. Maybe don't go so heavy-handed on the Neocolors, or if y'all have tips on coloring with pencil over Neocolors, let me know what your experience has been. Also, you can change the shapes. Don't forget what I had said about how you can take like, you can color like one whole flower, one color, instead of coloring each petal. That will simplify it and make this less complicated. You could use the bubble effect on your page, things like that. But I hope now that when you, if anything, I hope that I have like shifted your perspective a little bit on these really complicated pages to make it easier and more approachable so you're not so afraid of it. But I believe in just jumping in the deep end and just trying something new. And if you hate it, it's just a coloring page. It's not life or death. So I hope that this video has been enjoyable for y'all. I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.